Budget and Finance Committee to order. Our meeting agenda for this evening has the continuation of the 2018 budget review. The first item is the review of the debt service and the TIF district funds, and then to move on to the overall budget wrap-up, to consider the preliminary budget figures, and also to go over the kind of the items in place for additional discussion at the budget wrap-up. So, Mark, are you
Sure.
the debt?
Well, the debt service fund is on page 115 of proposed budget. To me, it's pretty straightforward. It shows some of the funds coming in from the TID districts. Property tax levy that's programmed in right now presumes a commitment of $264,376 of general fund reserves to limit the year-over-year increase to 5% growth. And as promised, I have brought some additional information. I printed off the big sheets for your review to basically give you three scenarios as to what debt service stabilization will look like, at least in the current configuration of the long-range financial plan. So lines 1 is the long-range plan projected future debt service. Lines 2 through 13 then are the 5% stabilization metrics, showing the line 3 is a baseline derived from last year's tax levy, increase of 5%. Then the amount of stabilization needed to achieve that is on line 4. Conceptually, we had talked about dedicating $750,000 of our $1,025,000 in excess of 30% of unreserved general fund balance to that effort. Staff also discussed that there are revenue streams from the sewer advance repayments on line 11, water advance payments on line 12 that will be coming into the general fund as those obligations are satisfied. That could also be applied towards debt service stabilization. Then you can run the numbers out, what the tax levy is, what the stabilization is needed,
Did they change the password?
funds available, any additional funding streams coming in, and then the running balance against all of that is on line 13. And that repeats lines 14 through 25 and 26 through 37 for the different metrics identified in bold underlined right underneath the, right on top of the each section there. So I guess I'll take questions.
Can you explain the concept? You say that you reset it, or maybe it was in the wrap-up thing, but you reset it based on TID 1 change closing? You reset the base?
Right. In 2022, presuming that TID 1 closes as projected in 2021,
Yep,
the board could consider allowing the
I'm working on that. Yeah, we get the.
debt service rate to reset to its fully funded levels.
That's what we're talking
That means instead of requiring stabilization to keep it at 5% over baseline, as in line 3 is showing, it would just float up to the full amount. It matches the projected debt service levy in line 1. At that point, then stabilization would again continue. You know, obviously between now and 2022, there's likely to be numerous changes to long-range financial plan, so we will continue to look at that. But just as a general strategy, with the closing of TID 1, expanding the taxable base for general taxes, there's tax relief in there, so allowing the debt service to return to its natural level does not generate a net tax increase.
Okay, so can I just restate it and see if I have it right? So for 2022, because the TIF will close and we'll have some extra funds, or we won't need to do the subsidy in that year, meaning we don't need any money to stabilize the debt because we'll have enough.
Well, the concept of stabilizing the debt is all derived on the desire to limit the tax rate growth, at least at the village level. And with that district closing, there'll be substantial property tax relief as a result of that. So allowing that tax to float up to its full value does not in itself create tax rate growth in that year.
Okay, and then I had asked prior, and you mentioned you'd address this during this session, but what happens for scenario 5% debt service levy growth, so the first scenario, in year 2024, when we do not have sufficient funds forecasted to continue on with our debt stabilization?
Right. At that point, you know, and it's well before we get to that point, you know, these numbers will be updated period or every year as part of either the budget presentation or long-range financial planning process. And then we'll see where those numbers start coming in. Now, there's certainly a likelihood that there'll be additional general fund reserves over that time frame that may accumulate. There may be funds available, hard dollars, that the village portion from TID closures, from TID 1, TID 3, TID 1, TID 4, TID 5. All of those funds will have, the board will have to determine what's the best use for those funds and how to get there. With the addition of the North Shore Fire debt service to the debt service schedule, that consumes about $500,000 of stabilization in the next 5 years, above and beyond the original concept in 2017. So staff felt it was prudent to show a number of scenarios because of that. Also with the addition of some of the contemplation for open drive projects not previously in the long-range plan in 2017. So this is as of right now, this is what each one of these would look like. You know, certainly there's no guarantees moving forward, but you know, what additional surpluses might be generated in the next 5 years, or what the desire of future boards might be to that effort. But based on this is how the numbers look.
And my last question, is it true from the numbers, it looks like in 2028, then our debt starts stabilizing, it starts going back down, it looks like it rises kind of all the way up to there?
Yeah, at that point, again, based on current project plans, even including what's now in the long-range plan, we will have gotten through that hump that we're trying to stabilize through.
The fire debt service, is that in these numbers or is not?
It is in these numbers.
Thank you.
I'm trying to, in 2018, you have a stabilization support needed of 344,000. The budget book has 264,000. Is there?
Yeah, the remainder of that's made up of the funds coming from surplus applied, which is bond premiums that are already in the debt service fund.
Also, they,
The 832 or 82,365. So those are already in the debt service fund. So that plus the general fund should total up the amount of stabilization support needed.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Trustee.
So in terms of, if we stayed at 5%, so we would be, in 2021, we would levy only $2,020,000,
That's correct.
and then we use general fund surplus to cover our debt service of almost 2.5. And then, but then next year when the TID closes, we'll up that, 500,000
That's one option, yes.
under the scenario.
Under that scenario,
Is
yes.
is that the entirety of the additional levy we'll be getting from the TIF closing, and
No, that's a fractional portion.
like 90%, I mean, what fraction
I-
are we talking about?
I'm sorry, I did not
9/10 or
calculate that.
1/10
Less than 25%, I would suspect.
But if 50% goes to, 50% goes to tax relief, right? And 50%, we can use 50%.
That would be 25% of our 50. That's
Well,
my
not-
general,
not
again, I haven't run the
25%.
numbers, but that's my general.
Yeah, I just wouldn't want to see all of the
No.
benefit from the TIF closing going
No.
to,
Just, and I can follow up with the body on exactly what those numbers would be from the long-range plan. I just didn't cross-index that.
I have two questions. In CDA, we started the conversation about extending the life of the TIF at the end by a year for affordable housing per some discussions, earlier discussions with the Joint Finance Committee, or the Joint Review Board, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
In that situation, if the CDA was to recommend doing so, and we did that in year, I guess it would be 2022, correct? That would be the year that would be extended.
Okay.
So then it would push it to 2023. Are we then are we then not able to achieve our 5% in that in 2023?
I think it would be very, very close to even, within certainly nominal rounding. Again, and we'll see how the long-range plan develops over the next few years and such to really nail that down. But I think it would be very close. And then, of course, by that time, in 2024, we'd have to contemplate what's all available to the body to either continue that effort or suspend that effort,
And then following up on the, I'm not as good with the expenditure limit, so I assume there's some technicality where if we increase between 2021 and 2022 our spending by $500,000 for debt service from the levy, that would be offset by some sort of increase in equalized value or something. Meaning, so without stabilization, isn't it a $500,000 kind of increase towards payment towards debt service the year that the TOB closes?
on this schedule, yes.
Yeah, and does that affect expenditure restraint?
No, it does not. That's a deduction from the calculations.
Okay.
President Johnson?
Regarding the TID closure extension, that was really only done on the Joint Review Board for TID 5. And then it was, the Joint Review Board did not address any of the other TIDs with that. It was only for TID 5. I just want to make clear on that point.
So tonight, Mark, what you need from us is how much you want to allocate for reserves, unrestricted
No, we looked all over.
to the debt service fund. Is that
For 2018.
2018, I know, we're working on the 28, this is
This is the
Right,
scenario.
this is just some context for that and the broader, longer term for the, to decide. Obviously, staff's interest is to have a consistent policy year from year. So at least at this point, you know, if the board feels that 5% is good to get us for the next 4 or 5 years, and we'll continue to reevaluate that every year, or if an alternative metric I scheduled out was 7%, the body could certainly instruct staff to pursue that from a planning perspective as well. The impact is, I think, $33,000 to the tax levy this year.
And is 7% stabilization, is that taking less from the general tax levy and more from the reserves, or is it the opposite?
It's opposite.
So essentially, we want to go with the 5%, that's limited to 5% increase, or let it go up to 7%. For at least 1 year, I'm comfortable with the 5%. We're going to be looking at this continuously. We're going to be reviewing the projects, which will affect the debt needs going out.